it'll tell you and prompt you to hit *6 to virtually raise your hand. All questions are welcome during this time, and it's probably the most exciting time of our calls. We do these calls each and every week with anywhere from 25 to 50 attendees per call for the last few months, and it's really exciting. To give you a little bit of a catch-up on where Code Ninjas is at, we currently have 94 signed franchise agreements all over the country. When it comes to that kind of accomplishment, that kind of validating from the marketplace, it really excites us. Our goal for the year was, we wanted to reach 20. And the validation from the marketplace and then the demand for Code Ninja and our product as a whole, to see 94 already this year, our first year in doing business, is pretty exciting. As Code Ninjas, we are an entire package of a system. We're not just a curriculum-based company. We're not just a franchise. We're an entire system. That's really why we have been so popular and so validated by the marketplace. It all comes and stems from the idea that David Graham, the founder of our company, had as he was running his company that taught adults how to code for the past 5 years, for about 5 years in 18 different cities. He kept getting question after question after question about how his adults were coming in saying, how can I get my kids involved? How can, where do I turn to have my kids to learn how to code? And really a few years ago when those questions were coming to David, the curriculum just wasn't there in the marketplace. The marketplace really didn't have something that was really dynamic. And so research started. David's a research guy. He loves to really, when he gets into this type of topic, he just really dives in. It took about 18 months of studying and looking at the marketplace, evaluating options, whether it be corporate run, whether it be franchise. And last year, we built this company as a franchise. So David, day one, said we're going to build this as a franchise. So every partner that we have inside of for our vendors is involved in franchising. Every aspect of what we do with who we teamed up with is very knowledgeable and deep roots in the franchising world, which is really beneficial to anybody, all the entrepreneurs that come on board with Code Ninjas. So as we started going through, we created a proprietary blend. David and the team, our curriculum team, created a proprietary blend of curriculum. That curriculum, it has 9 different belts, and it takes 3 to 4 years to accomplish. And we'll talk a little bit how our students progress through that in just a minute. To go back to kind of our purpose, our mission, really comes down to something pretty simple. Kids have fun, parents see results. We're just as much in the parent retention business as we are in the kids having fun business. And the more fun our kids have, the more they're going to come back to our environment. The more parents are seeing results from what their son or their daughter is learning, the more we're going to retain our students and obviously have a very positive culture and brand recognition throughout the community. So as our growth has been it's been recognized, Entrepreneur Magazine this month has us in the top 10 trending franchises. We're very proud to be there. Only 18% of franchise systems reach more than 100 sold or signed territories in their lifetime. We're going to be doing that this year. Now our first year of being in business, and we're really excited about that. It's very, like I said before, very validating. So as we put our team together, we like to say we have the right people, we have the right product, and we have the right plan. And that's really our entire system. We're not just a right product company, which would be our curriculum. We have the right people, the right product, and the right plan. And as we talk about who we are and our mission, it always focuses around our franchisees, our customers, our kids, and how they're learning and becoming the best problem solvers they can be. We focus on those critical thinking skills, those problem-solving skills. It is our goal that kids have fun. We Jedi mind trick them into coding at the same time as they're developing these skills. So as we move through to our curriculum a little bit to give you some insight there, those 9 belts, within inside each one of those belts, our students will learn a certain set of skills within inside one of those belts. It's a proprietary system. So we have proprietary textbooks, a proprietary platform. We have a proprietary robotics program that only is carried by Code Ninjas in North America. As our students work through, let's say, for example, the white belt, they learn a certain set of skills. Once they learn those skills and they reach the end of the white belt on our game development platform, they have to build a game. We give them the framework, but they have to build that game based on the skills that they learned throughout that belt. And as they progress through, each belt compounds onto one another. It's like compound interest. Everything works together. They practice, practice, practice. So at the end of each belt, when they go to build that game on our proprietary platform, they have to use the skills that they've learned throughout each belt that they've been a part of and they've progressed through. It's a very smooth system, and it's working very, very well. And it's like that testing system. There's really not a way to test kids out there right now, and this is our way. That system itself is turning out to be one of the best parts of Code Ninjas besides the culture that kids can be a part of. So as we think about the system as a whole, the plan that we have as a franchise, we built this from day one to be a franchise. So like I mentioned earlier, every partner that we have deep roots in the franchising world, from our real estate vendors, from our financial vendors, from our design and construction side. They know how to connect with you and connect with the outside world in terms of franchising. Our marketing system that we have set up, the PR firm that we have, to even our internal marketing director. We give you a 16-week pre-opening marketing roadmap to follow. We give you digital marketing strategies to follow after you're open. The entire platform that we have on how you operate your system every single day, it comes from, we built that. It's built just for Code Ninjas as a franchise. So even when you look at the backbone of every great franchise, that backbone is support. So as we were going through before, we started building all of these aspects 6 months before we even released, 7 months, 8 months before we even released or opened our first center and started actually marketing Code Ninja as a franchise. Our support system is really broken into 3 parts. We give you that person-to-person support. So you're getting the compliance support, and you're also getting the operational support. Along with that, you have online resource. Our Code Ninja University, it's like a wiki doc that really allows you to be able to stay in touch with every aspect of what you do in your day-to-day operations, from sharing best practices to understanding, training in your team. We have our technology, our curriculum, our onboarding, our operations. So that online resource is there for you. And most importantly, I think, is what we pride ourselves on is collaboration is in our DNA. Collaboration is not just a word to us. It is actually part of our DNA. How we built this from day one is building those collaboration tools. So immediately when you become a franchisee, you're connecting with every other franchisee out there immediately. You're being welcomed into the team. You are able to connect with them. We have threads within that system that allow you to connect in different aspects and different stages of where you're at and learn from your franchisees that are out there. And that, like I said, collaboration is not just a word to us. It's actually part of our DNA and how we built Code Ninjas from day one. That is our basic overview. In these learning channels that we provide, we, like, for example, our Discovery Day, our one-on-one calls, our conference calls like today. They're all recorded, and the question and answer section part of what we do is really what we try to get to right away when it comes to these weekly calls. Just to kind of give you another idea of next steps, depending where you're at in the process, everything that we do is very process-focused. So it's customized to you and where you're at, your timeline. So when it comes to next steps, if there's questions around next steps, I can definitely answer them today. But that's also something we can talk about one-on-one with myself or Jeff Thames on your next steps, because it's really customized to you. We have all these pieces to the puzzle. We just got to take what pieces fit you the best and where you're at. The question and answer segment, which will start here in a second, that is really a time for you to be able to ask any questions you want, whether it's going to be around our marketing, around our franchising, our model, whether it's going to be with our FDD if you've read through that, whether it's going to be about more questions about the curriculum. And to kind of remember, our curriculum, we're a drop-in setting. We're not a classroom setting. Mom and dad come in drop their son or daughter off at their convenience. Kids can stay as little as 15 minutes or as long as an hour, up to 2 days a week. And that's a flat tuition rate per month. So if you have questions about that, we can talk a little bit more about that as well. So every question you might have right now, the only ones I'm not going to be able to touch a lot on are going to be your ROI and what you can expect for revenue. We can't touch on those, but everything else we can. I'll do my very best to answer all your questions and to be sure that you walk away with learning a little bit more about who we are and what we're about. So I'll start that Q&A for us right now. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask those. It's going to ask you to hit *6 if you have more questions on anything I went over today, or any questions you have from the past, that whether you've talked to Jeff Thames or you've talked to myself, and some other questions have come up. Feel free to ask away. Hi, you have a question?
So I'm curious about the curriculum. Is how the program is. Where is it hosted? Do you own the servers, or is it on the cloud? And how are kids going to be accessing that software, proprietary software? And then will they have access out? And how are they going to be restricted from accessing it outside of the class hours?
Yeah, great question. Yeah. No, great question. So our everything is on the cloud. And they only can access their curriculum from on-site. When they come into our center and they scan their wristband, it's an RFID bracelet. Once they scan that allows them to access our dojo, our virtual dojo, and access the curriculum. So we have an entire operating system that allows them, which they get orientated on and know how to use. So when they scan their wristband, they go and sit down, they crack open their laptop, and they go into obviously everything's hosted on the cloud, and that's how they access the curriculum. So they cannot access it from home.
They access it through web browser?
Correct.
Okay. And what was have you guys done any load testing, any like tipping point testing? Because with how you guys scaling, I'm pretty sure that's going to be a problem. How do you guys going to tackle that?
Well, so our team has been programmers and developers for more than 25 years and have designed cloud-based security systems for very high-end companies, billing software companies. So they're very, very experienced. In fact, this is actually more in their wheelhouse than anything. So when it comes to the details of that, we can definitely connect offline. I think the majority of the individuals kind of, asking questions, that type of security question, I would say would be something you can connect offline, but that's kind of the specialty of our company, actually. So,
okay, yeah, I am being a test manager. I understand you guys have all the experience building, but I also have all the experience testing. So that's why.
And so do we. So that's fantastic. Yeah. I love the question because we have that experience as well. That's why the team is. The majority of our team are coders and programmers, developers, and lived in this world. So they would love to and all due respect, they would love to geek out with you over that.
Okay, perfect. And how can I get in touch with them?
So when you work with Jeff Thames or myself, depending who you're working with, part of the process of going down this road. And as we go down this road, we connect you with the right people, whether it's going to be our CEO or Nick, our lead curriculum programmer or developer. So as we go down this road together and we evaluate and vet out the program, whether you're right for Code Ninjas and we're right for you, we definitely we can have a conference call, with one of them, with individuals that know more about it, and you'll be able to learn.
Okay, perfect. And I have one more question about your robotics program.
Sure.
So as far as I understand, this is mostly right now planned as like a weekend boot camp or kind of one-off topic, right?
No,
it's a part of the kind of the monthly curriculum.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. And Jeff can also provide me some information on that, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, perfect. And then as far for the curriculum itself, so I see you guys are using the Scratch kind of as your platform, and then the Minecraft mod approach. Can I? Is there any way I can see some kind of a demo or like access the curriculum? Just so basically, the reason why is I'm in Washington State, and you probably know this is the second tech hub in the U.S. and we have a lot of tech interested people. So I'm meeting with a group of investors next week to talk about opportunity opening multiple locations in Washington. And a lot of those, majority of those people are completely non-technical, and they will be asking a lot of questions. And I want to be able to kind of translate those technical specifics to non-technical people, so that way they can have a better understanding. Because I'm pretty sure there's not going to be an answer that will not be followed with some specific questions. So, is there any way? Do you guys have any demo for your curriculum?
The only time we offer up any sort of deeper insight with our curriculum is at Discovery Day.
Okay.
And the only piece of our curriculum that's going to be able to be that's non-proprietary is going to be Scratch. Everything else is everything else. I mean, our summer camps and that's different, but our ongoing monthly tuition, the only piece of that is Scratch, which is white belt only, because we find that an easy win for kids, and we don't ever want to get rid of that. The rest of our program is all proprietary.
Okay. And what does it build on?
When it comes to understanding what was built on and those technical questions, I mean, get with Jeff. He'll get you connected with probably David Graham, and you can talk more of the technical questions.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So, yeah, I'll talk to Jeff then about connecting with Dave Graham.
Wonderful. All right. Have a good rest of your day.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, you had a question?
Hello, Marty. This is Mike. I had a question about your marketing development.
Okay.
Just wanted to know, are you at a point with your marketing that you've identified trends for segmenting markets? Like, would there be a particular type of student that would be, would be more appealing to this, or do you market to the parents, and is there a particular type of parent, or be it, median income or profession? Are you down to that where you have a much more effective, marketing because of the segmentation?
Well, I think that, it's a great question. And when it comes to the data diving in terms of the marketing, I think markets are going to vary. We can talk about a $70,000 median household income in Katy, Texas, but a $70,000 median household income in Katy, Texas is not going to be quite the same as it's going to be in Bentonville, Arkansas. So
sure.
I think
cost of living.
We have to look at the market and the cost of living in those markets to determine like the certain income level of who is going to be attracted. And that can be deceiving as well. Just because they have a higher income, it doesn't mean that they have a lot of disposable income. So looking at what parents are spending, and they can, one of the great advantages of working with our real estate company too, is they can also heat map and where parents are spending money on education. So you actually have an idea of where mom and dad, how much mom and dad are spending on extra, whether it be education or extracurricular activities for their kid, whether it be obviously music or whatever, it falls underneath that category, and you'll be able to see that. Where we are really data nerds, we all are. We all really like to dive deep into the data to understand how far are kids driving from, parents driving from to bring their kids in, what age groups are they, what kind of income are they coming from, what do mom and dad do for a living. I mean, these are all things that we're collecting data on as time goes on, and love to be able to share that. And the great thing is our platform allows us to pull reports so mom and dad can't, our franchisees can see, where mom and dad are coming from, and all the data that comes along with that. Even when it comes to our marketing, why we believe in digital marketing so strongly is it really allows you to fine-tune and laser beam focus your marketing efforts to really even see lead acquisition costs. So you can see where your money is going and what kind of ROI you're getting on those marketing dollars.
Okay. I was wondering, too, if the segmenting of the students, is there a particular student that is more prone to like and enjoy the curriculum, for example, the computer club back from my day versus the kids that are maybe doing other extracurricular activities, the sports and that sort. Do you see yourself appealing to a broad band of these kids, or is it particular to those that are maybe more computer focused?
I think that has to be, we have to really first identify the type of student, and I think that changes often. To say what type of student, I think first you need to categorize what type of student are we talking about, and what goes with type versus what parents want their kids to know. We want kids to have fun. They are going to have fun, but also there's going to be parents out there that say there's no option. There's no option that their kids have to learn how to code. They have to be a part of the program. And then you're going to get groups of kids that just want to be a part of it because they fit in with the other kids that are there and they're creating communities. But then you're going to get parents that say you don't have a choice. You have to go. You have to go and learn. There's certain things I make my kids do that they don't want to do, but they have to learn it. And I think so. Type of student versus parents want or parents need. I think that's always going to be a teeter-totter battle. I don't believe that we're always going to be able to rely on just one or the other. When it comes to type of student, we have students that come in after football. We have students that come after baseball. We have students that that are more of the computer science savvy that are there also. We have students that have no experience, and one of the biggest, if you really look at Code Ninja as a whole, one of the great marketing, the plan behind this, and when David put it together, is think of how unintimidating we are. When you come into our environment, when you see our facilities, it's not an intimidating environment. The only intimidation factor that's going to be there is lack of education from mom and dad. And that intimidation factor is one reason we do parent tech education nights. One reason why we have summer camps. Our summer camps are designed around increasing the bandwidth of those kids who already have a lot of experience, but also introducing new kids into this system, into this world that maybe mom and dad are a little bit, leery and not sure what to do. Maybe they're a little intimidated. Maybe their son or daughter doesn't know what to do. And those summer camps can really ignite that fire and introduce them into this whole world. So I think that's always going to be something we're going to, as a company, going to face moving forward is, the student versus parent need or want there.
Yeah, I have to say you're broken down into belts. As a parent of children in this age group, that gives me some assurance that, okay, I'm not just putting my kid in a class that he may be better or worse than, where his development is. At least it's going to be directed to his, what his band is, his belt is. And I feel like it's not a waste of money because it's not, he's not having to wait for the other kids to catch up. I guess I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and that's, we design those belts 1 through 9 as easy wins all the way through. So we want kids to be able to have wins all the way through each belt. When they're feeling competent, they're going to be motivated. And we want to make sure that competence is there for them. They can see their achievement.
Good. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks for your question. Okay, so if we don't have any other questions, we can kind of wind up today's call. So if you have a question, you hit *6, and then that'll virtually raise your hand. Hi, yes, do you have a question?
Yes, so I have a question regarding the location. So do you guys help me to make a research for where to exactly open the location?
Yes.
So it's you that help us to determine the location, right?
Correct. Once you become a franchise, we help you identify your area, your market, and then when you work with our preferred vendor, Morrow Hill, they will help you identify an exact location, exact building.
So as a franchise owner, so do we need some kind of training or something like that for
training? We have new franchisee training that you would come to when you're a new franchisee.
Okay. So you provide the training for us?
Correct.
Okay. So is there any charge for training or?
I'm sorry?
Is there any charge that you charge us for a training?
We do not charge you for new franchisee training. We do not.
Oh, okay. And so, what is like the extra thing that is in your curriculum so that the children will not look for the online material, then come with us? So what's the core thing about this curriculum?
We teach and coach your team how to teach and coach the Code Ninjas curriculum. They can't go find it online and then come into our center. This is not offered anywhere besides at Code Ninjas.
So they can go online and search for the curriculum.
They only can access the curriculum from inside of Code Ninjas.
So can we look at some of the curriculum before we make a decision for the franchise?
The only way you can take a deeper look at Code Ninjas as a whole would be attending one of our discovery days, and we have certain parameters or expectations that need to be met before being invited to Discovery Day. So the short answer is yes. The long answer is you have to work with Jeff or I. There's a few pieces that have to be put into place before in being invited to Discovery Day.
Okay. So right now I am in Atlanta, and so I need to talk with some of your persons. So is there any way I can meet one-on-one with you here in Atlanta and talk about this thing?
We are located. Our corporate headquarters is in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
And then if you've done an inquiry through online, you've probably already received an email from myself or Jeff Thames. You'd want to connect with us one-on-one via phone.
Okay. So it's all virtual meeting.
Virtual unless you come to a Discovery Day. Correct.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. Thanks for your questions. Hi, you have a question? Hello, do you have a question?
Hey, Marty, it's Greg. How are you?
Hey, Greg. How are you?
I'm good. I have a question about you guys doing a certain level of a SWOT analysis on, the hyper growth is great. Congratulations. I'm trying to identify or brainstorm on threats to the business model that you guys forecasted when you launched the concept. That one of the things is not being terribly technical is, just in my world around me, technology changes very, very quickly. And I think it's safe to assume that the education to support that technology changes very quickly as well. So I wondered if you could talk about whether it's competitors in the marketplace, whether it be, legacy education institutions like Huntington or Sylvan or somebody, diving into it, or a similar concept to Code Ninjas in that regard, or if you see school systems themselves, after-school programs in the schools as a threat to growth, or ultimately loss of market share.
So just to kind of start with the first one, which would be just talking about threats in general. If we go to like other tutoring type of centers like Huntington, for example, or Sylvan, they're a multi-source curriculum company. They don't just have it. They're not a single source focused company. So their business model is quite different. That would probably be the I would say would be the biggest threat, if there is one, in terms of something like that, would be like a Huntington, a Sylvan, something similar like that, would be if they came up with a 3 to 4 year long curriculum like ours that was in depth like ours. I would think that would be really the only one. Somebody similar to us would be, we're such a head start of everybody right now. For somebody to come to the marketplace and try to dethrone us or cut us up at the knees or catch up to us. This is not a fitness center. This is not a restaurant. We're talking about a tutoring segment. They would have a lot of work on their hands and they would have to be under some serious development as we speak, and to hit the marketplace as aggressive as we have. It would take quite a while. We're going to have 100 franchisees here shortly, and that's a big number in such a short period of time, which really gives us a turbocharge into next year. And when you have franchisees that all work together and are driving the business forward, we're going to even move faster in terms of our overall brand and our offering and our just overall experience. Not including locations, that can be secondary, but really just the quality of what we offer within inside of our four walls is going to be accelerated because of the number of franchisees that we have and in the units we have sold. Just that alone, that quality of experience is going to go through the roof. When it comes to locations, that's on the backside. We're not really worried about the somebody coming up behind us and getting the number of locations. That's going to take a long time. The school system, it's going to be really hard for a school system that has a 1 to 25 or a 1 to 30 ratio from student to teacher ratio to incorporate a program that's an 8 to 1 ratio, like ours. It would be really hard for them to be able to incorporate an 8 to 1 ratio. They would have to it wouldn't be 9 belts, it'd be 19, because they'd have to really water this down to be able to introduce this into the school system. And it would cost, obviously, the $200 million that they just signed and used. That's nothing when it comes to hitting the school system and the number of schools, elementary and middle schools, and the number of kids that are out there. Overall, in technology changing, our curriculum is never complete. We have a team that focuses on our curriculum, and the curriculum is never complete. It'll always be ongoing and be under development. Once we get through the path, then we start over and go from the beginning again. We get through the path again. We're on our second time through of sharpening all of our tools and making advancements and changes where they need to be. Now, if you look at our franchisees that are coming aboard, like I said, collaboration is part of our DNA. So many of the franchisees coming aboard have that tech experience, have that coding experience. They're going to also help. They're like another 100 set of eyes looking at our curriculum and how to advance it and make it still very user-friendly, fun for our kids, but still advance it further. And like I said, about that quality offering on the inside, that's really the advantage that we have by growing as fast as we have. Not necessarily the number of units across the country, but that growing that fast really is going to raise the bar for our overall quality experience.
So I appreciate that, and thank you. And so in noodling this, right, I've almost looking at this, the curriculum is obviously the focus, but to me, the franchise, the Codename franchise is a vehicle or a medium to offer specialized education relative to coding. So whether in 2017, robotics is hot and that's what, the marketplace is demanding, the future tells us that, 3 to 4 years from now, it could be something totally different, and the ability to adapt and move with the marketplace, if that to me is very intriguing about the model, because if you take feedback from the ground up or from the bottom up rather than the top down, so that if Joe in Minnesota or Phil in Texas or Bob in California says, hey, this is what the marketplace is asking for, developing additional curricula associated with those real-time demands, I think is important to keep your lead, versus other competitors.
I totally agree with you, and I'll give you an example of how we're already doing that. We had a franchisee come forward saying that he was getting he's about to open here shortly, and he was getting feedback from people that were inquiring about doing 3D printing. And so he called up and he's like, hey, do we have anything for this? And we're like, no, but hey, can you pioneer it, find it. He actually called a 3D printing company. They made a curriculum, a boot camp curriculum, and just like that, now we have, and he's pioneering it, and he's going to beta test it, and he's going to be doing a 3D printing camp. So just as an example, I know that seems minor, but it's us listening to our franchisees and acting on it and using our franchisees to beta test something based on what their market was asking for. So we're already going right along with what you're saying, and that goes back to that why collaboration is really a part of our DNA. We want to hear from our franchisees in the markets what's going on. If somebody says, hey, I have a bunch of parents that want to do a Python camp, they want to teach their kids the language of Python. If there's a curriculum there, get it over to us. Let's get it approved and let's get it rolling, and let's see how we can scale that throughout the entire Code Ninjas system.
Awesome. And my last question is, how are your franchisees that are further down the path than I am experiencing their rate at hiring either directors or senseis, and them having the necessary skill sets to to support a location? Is there a potential roadblock there?
Well, being that we started with adults and we saw the issues. We started with teaching, having adults, coders and developers teaching kids. We immediately saw the issue there. Went to the local computer science program teacher, got those referrals, and had no problem bringing on, those 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids to teach and coach the Code Ninjas curriculum. Those kids are already in that world. To see this opportunity for them to be able to do the Code Ninjas curriculum and coach and teach it. We're currently working on a certification for those senseis as well, so they have a tangible piece to go with them after they go off to college or go find another career somewhere in the tech world. They can show that they were a certified sensei and they did our curriculum and they coached and taught it. Center directors, I think there's. I'm just going to say it. I believe that there are great center directors all over the place, and I don't ever believe that should be a problem, because we're really looking for people that have hearts for kids and coaches. Now to find the perfect one may be a little bit more of a challenge, but you're going to find that our environment is very inviting for those who have that heart of a teacher or a coach. They don't have to have tech experience. They can learn it. They can grow with it, but their main job is to be onboarding parents, working on the culture, making a fun environment. And I don't foresee a problem hiring good center directors. Finding that diamond in the rough, hopefully everybody can be blessed with stumbling across that person like we did a couple of different times. And for those who haven't met Shauna, she started off as a center director. She's incredible. We brought her over to the corporate office after a few months, and then now we just found another one. She's fantastic. So, we haven't had an issue with that, and I haven't heard any issues coming up from our current franchisees yet. I haven't heard any issues with hiring anybody.
Great. Thank you, Marty.
Thanks, Greg. And we have one last question. And you have a question.
Hey, it's Dimitri again. So I was talking to Jeff and about the kind of specifics of curriculum, and one of my questions was, how is it, how are the kids going to catch up? Kids who join later in the program going to catch up with kids that are, started earlier, like 2, 3, 4, 5 months before. And what he mentioned is that it's a self-paced, it's kind of all online, and kids are learning at their own pace. So it's kind of giving me an impression that, it's okay. Well, kids come in, they sit on the computer, and then they have a couple of people walking around and just helping to unblock them. So it's kind of like, hey, babysitting with computer or something. But I just wanted to clarify. You mentioned there's a tutoring, right? It's like you have a tutoring approach. So how's that tutoring approach working?
So it's actually working really great. Kids don't use the computer the entire time. With our proprietary textbooks and proprietary robotics, and being able to obviously do our curriculum through our portal, we have whiteboards. Senseis are coached and taught not to sit back and just wait for somebody to raise their hand. They're coached and taught to be engaged with kids throughout the entire time they're in the center. We have we have different coaching and training tools and one of them, an acronym, and it's called LISTEN. The N stands for notice. And we teach and coach our senseis to notice kids when they come in, engage with those kids when they're there, not just sit back and wait for them to raise their hand. We do not take the build it and they will come approach. We want to engage parents, we want to engage kids, So when they're there working, we're encouraging them. We're not just sitting back waiting for them to raise their hand. We're in their business and interacting with them.
Okay, perfect. That answered my question. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, you have a question? Hi, do you have a question?
Hi, yes. I have one question about your Discovery Day. Could you speak a little more about what are your expectations and requirements for somebody to attend it?
Sure. So our Discovery Days are designed for those who are a little bit further down the road. To make it really simple, our Discovery Days are for those individuals who need one or two more pieces of the puzzle put in place, and Discovery Days are going to be able to give that to them. Discovery Days are not meant for those who are just trying to check us out. That creates an environment of people all over the board with where they're at in terms of the process. We prefer to do the checkout phase together over the phone, working on things and whatever you need to be able to get through that phase. We have a projection document. We like to have you go through our conference calls. We like to walk you through that projection document to really truly see the value. We also like to connect you with franchisees, our current, at least one or two current franchisees, before coming to Discovery Day. We like to have you identify your market, identify maybe even ideas of rent cost in your area. So we want to make sure that you've done your own, like Greg mentioned earlier, your own SWOT analysis on your marketplace as well to fully understand the value of Code Ninjas in your market. So coming to Discovery Day is, like for example, our last Discovery Day, we had 25 attendees at our last Discovery Day, which equaled 12 groups of people. Out of 12 groups of people, 10 of those became franchisees out of that last Discovery Day. That's incredible. And that's because they all came to our Discovery Day looking for just certain items that they needed to put into place to validate their decision to move forward with us. And by meeting the team, going through our Discovery Day, that's what they needed to hear and see, and it's much more personal. Now, if you can imagine if that was 35 people and, 10 of those were in the checkout phase, people are on two different sides of the spectrum there, and we want to focus in on each of them, but we need to meet everybody where they're sitting. We can't do that if people are all over the spectrum in terms of where they're at in the process.
Okay, thank you. Do you need any financial commitments for someone to attend this?
To attend the Discovery Day, we do ask that you are connected with our financial vendor and you do have a call with them. If it's not their financial vendor, it's just basically understanding you're pre-qualified, understanding the amount that it's going to cost for you to open your center. And we do want you to be pre-qualified for the monies, or at least help us identify where you're getting the money from to open your Code Ninjas.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Well, I want to say thanks to everybody for taking the time out of your day to spend on today's call. Feel free to reach out anytime to myself or Jeff Thames. My email is marty@codeninjas.com. Feel free to email me any other questions you might have. I want to say thanks again for taking your time, and we look forward to helping you through the next steps and becoming a Code Ninja franchisee.